Hey, Mark Brouker here, Brouker Leadership Solutions. Hey, today we're going to talk about how you build trust. A week or so, it took a couple weeks ago, we talked about the ingredients of a high-performing team. The team needs to know they have a purpose and they have to have trust in their leader. And when you do have those two things, oxytocin surges through your body. It increases, and oxytocin is a love hormone. So when you say you love going to work, you literally love going to work. So let's talk about that second piece. Again, knowing what you're doing is important, and the second piece is building trust. So let's talk about building trust. It's in my book, Lessons from the Navy, coming out on the 15th of November. I talk about specific behaviors that build trust, and one of those behaviors I want to talk about is one I learned when I was going off to Rota, Spain to be executive officer of a hospital, chief operating officer. Go to 2 weeks of command leadership school where all the senior leaders go in the Navy to learn about leadership and at a really high level. I was all excited about this opportunity. I'm going to be in there with really smart people from submarine community, air squadron, ships. It was just the coolest experience. Monday morning, the first class, 8 o'clock in the morning, first speaker comes in. There's about 40 of us in an amphitheater type area, and he comes in, he says, when you meet a sailor, subordinate employee for the civilians, for the first time, what do you talk about? And I remember there was silence in the room, and I probably had too much caffeine. I couldn't stand the silence. I had to say something, and I wanted to probably impress the crowd. So I raised my hand, and he looks at me, he goes, yeah, what do you got? I said, well, you talk about mission, vision, guiding principles, the commanding officer's guidance, blah, blah, blah. And he's shaking his head in apparent agreement. I'm thinking I'm crushing the answer. And after about a minute, he finally looks at me. He goes, that's absolutely wrong. That's not what you talk about. I remember I turned red and started blushing. It wasn't a good moment for me. I can blush pretty easily, and I was blushing. But I did get my composure back because I want to know, what do you talk about? I thought I crushed that answer. And again, that was this 20 years of my Navy career. I wish I had learned this much earlier. And here's what he said. He goes, don't do that. They're expecting that. They're expecting you to go talk about the do's and don'ts and all that. He goes, instead, have them tell you their story. Find out about their goals, their aspirations. Find out where they're from. Find out what their concerns are, what are their hobbies. And man, I immediately when I heard that, I said, this is a game changer. And it has been a game changer for me. Most people just don't do this. Have the discipline to just spend the first 30 minutes of a conversation when you meet the person. After you've hired them, they've gone through the hiring process, and they're on board. Man, you do this, it's a fantastic way to build a foundation of trust. Matter of fact, it's the fastest way that I know to build a foundation of trust. There's other things you have to do, and we'll talk about those going forward. They're certainly in my book. But to build a foundation of trust, this is a game changer. So instead of talking about the mission, vision, guiding principles on that first day when you have that first one-on-one, change the dynamic. Say, I want to hear about you. And tell them you want to tell your story for a couple minutes, but it's about them. Most of the time it's going to be about them. It's a great way to build a foundation of trust. Okay, that's it from here now. We'll talk about more behaviors going forward. Until then, be a great leader. Bye-bye.